Hello, my name is Shelby Favorito, and I'm a student and professor at Ballistics, Capital Markets and Institutions course through the Concordia University of Nebraska. Today I'm going to present to you an investment strategy for the company, the Adidas Group. The Adidas Group was founded in August of 1949 by Adidas in Germany. The original company started with 47 employees and a shoe that portrayed the three stripes, which is the image of the company today. Adidas maintained a strong company and a strong foothold in the sporting goods industry by constantly meeting with athletes from out of town, in town, and listening to their wants and wishes for their apparel, their sporting goods equipment, basically anything that the company was going to sell, and he implemented that into his designs. By using that method of research, he was able to create a strong trust in the athletic community, and this allowed Adidas to maintain their status throughout the decades. In 1970, Adidas designed the official ball of the FIFA World Cup, which allowed for them to conquer yet another part of the sporting goods market and produce a ball that would be visible on black and white televisions. When Adi died, his son Horst took over, which maintained the presence of the Dassler family as well as the research methods done by Adi. But when he suddenly died in 1987, the company did not see the same types of sales or leadership that they had in the past, and they almost had to declare bankruptcy in 1992. When the new CEO, Robert Louis Dreyfus, switched the gears of the company and boosted sales back up again, the company was finally able to go public in 1995, and they introduced the slogan, "We knew then and we know now," basically meaning they were going to build off the initial principles that the company was founded on. Later, after the company would go public, Adidas would go on to partner with TaylorMade and Reebok, companies that they still own today. In 2015, the company introduced its 5-year strategy, which focuses on creating new innovative designs to fully conquer not only the sporting goods market, but apparel and footwear as well. The sporting goods market saw a change in 2016 when all the Sports Authority locations closed due to the company declaring bankruptcy. Along with Sports Authority, Golfsmith, and other retailers that carried the brand, as well as Nike and Puma, were shutting their doors. The closing of these stores, while boosting the sales at places like Dick's Sporting Goods, still made an impact on the sporting goods market. When Golfsmith went bankrupt, they owed Adidas $5.1 million for their tailor-made golf sector. Although the sporting goods industry is taking a hit right now, the sports apparel market is doing better than they ever have. In the last 7 years, there has been a 42% increase in sports apparel and footwear sales. Morgan Stanley 2015. Studies are showing that more active lifestyles drastically improve the emotional health of participants opposed to consumers who do not work out, which is likely helping companies meet their sales goals. In the US alone, there is a market of $97 billion in sales each year in the sports apparel market. By 2020, it is anticipated that there will be an additional $83 billion in sales. Markets in other countries outside of the US will also contribute to this growth, 5% from Europe, the Middle East, and Africa alone. In China, the government has made sure to show just how important athletic participation is and plans to build 60% more sports facilities by 2025. And will hopefully encourage 500 million of their citizens to exercise and play sports on a more regular basis, which would require for athletic wear to be purchased as well as sporting goods. Over the next 5 years, my goal is to make Adidas the preferred brand among athletes and citizens in these underexploited Asian countries. For the first year would be spent conducting research. Then, following a marketing team's full analysis of the market, 100 stores would be opened throughout the country to assess performance and the financial strength of these areas. Once These stores have proven to have significant growth in financial performance. 1,000 more additional stores would be opened in areas where recreational facilities had been built. The first part of the plan would cost $2 million for the market team's salaries and research. Following that, an additional $55 million would be required, $50,000 for each store that was opened. The only setback of this plan would be competition from Nike and other companies that will also be tapping into these markets with the anticipated growth of the sporting goods industry over the next 5 years in the Asian countries. A way to overcome these setbacks would be to make Adidas the brand of the company through signing major Asian athletes and having them represent the brand and really encourage the people of these countries to relate and identify with the representative of the brand. A strong promotion team could also make sure to combat these setbacks through strong advertisement and promotional materials throughout the country. From 2014 to 2015, net sales increased by 14%. The gross profit of the company increased by 15.2% and continues to grow. If the company continues to grow and expand and really exploit the Asian markets like anticipated, we could see a drastic increase in their performance over the next 5 years. Although 2013 showed great performance, there were more net sales in 2015, but less net income attributed to shareholders, showing that more revenue was generated from non-shareholders in 2015 than in 2013, making the company more financially independent. From 2014 to 2015, we can see that the company had 13,343 million euros in total assets, a 6.9% increase from 2014. Shareholder equity has stayed rather consistent, however, with 5,489 million in 2013, 5,624 million in 2014, and 5,666 million in 2015. From 2013 to 2015, there was only an increase of 3.1% in shareholder equity in those 2 years. In 2014, there was an equity ratio of 45.3%, and in 2015, 42.5%. While the return on equity has increased from 8.7% in 2014 to 11.2% in 2015. Looking at these financial statements, the best method for funding would be to offer more stock options and increase stock options by 55 million. There has been a significant increase in assets with little increase in the performance of shareholder equity. Adding 55 million would not increase the percent of shareholder equity to be anywhere near even 50% of total assets, which would allow for Adidas to maintain control of operations while generating additional funds to grow the organization, which would give back money to the shareholders. The current shareholder equity to assets ratio is 42.5%, based off the total assets available at the end of 2015. If we increase shareholder equity by 55 million, the new ratio would be 42.9%, which is not even an increase, 1% increase in the ratio. The company has a financial goal in place to improve profits by growing the bottom line by an average of around 15% per year, significantly faster than their targeted top line, stated the CEO in the 2015 financial report. If these goals are met, this would increase great returns for shareholders. Looking at the liquidity of the company, we can see that the net cash increased to 1.09 billion in 2015 compared to 701 million in 2014. The net cash used in investing activities also increased in 2015 to 591 million from 537 million in 2014. The liquidity of Adidas is much greater now than it was in 2014 and has a higher ratio, showing that they would be able to pay off their liabilities in comparison to previous years, which shows improvement in financial performance. The profitability of the company has too increased, with the gross profit margin being 48.3% in 2015, which is up from 47.6% in 2014. Another ratio that gives a good assessment of the operations of the organization is the return on equity, which was 11.2% in 2015, which was up 3.5% from the 8.7 it was in 2014. The higher the return on equity, the better return to investors and management, and shows better management of their equity base. Looking at the risk of the company, the debt to equity ratio was at 28% in 2014 and has dropped down to 26% in 2015, showing that there was not a drastic increase in debt over the last year. However, if we look at the debt to equity ratio in 2013, there was a significant increase, with it only being 11% in 2013. Another ratio that helps assess the riskiness of a company is the financial leverage ratio, which looks at the total assets over the total equity. For 2014, the ratio was 2.21, and in 2015, it increased to 2.35, showing that the company used more debt financing in the last year. Although the company is a little riskier than an investor would like, looking at previous years, the company is not doing terrible and can still produce significant returns to their investors. Based off of the financial statements and the financial analysis, it would be a smart decision for Adidas to use their strong place in the stock market to raise additional funds through the use of their shareholders. By using shareholders to raise their funds, they are not increasing their debt and only raising their shareholder equity by a very small number that will not impact the operations of the company by much. With the increase in the Asian markets being projected to increase by so much, there's a great chance that investors will see a greater return on their investments than the 11% that it's currently at. The plan in place is strong and going to drive the company in an even stronger financial position that will impress investors. This method will raise funds for the short term, and over time, the company can purchase the stock back to shift ownership away from shareholders and back to the company. All of these reasons are why it would be a great idea for Adidas to invest in the Asian markets over the next few years. Thank you.